afternoon. Seattle is on the world stage today. From the KUOW newsroom, this is Seattle Now. I'm your host, Paige Browning, with today's top stories. It's Monday, June 15th. Seattle hosted its first World Cup soccer match today, with tens of thousands of fans coming to town to cheer on their team. Casey Martin has the latest.
Imagine being a 10-year-old who loves soccer, and you get to go to the World Cup. That's what happened today for Eli Halim, who came here from California with his dad to support Team Egypt.
Really excited.
Any favorite players on the team?
Mo Salah.
Soccer star Mohamed Salah. Just about every Egypt fan was wearing his jersey in Seattle today. Halim and his dad even had their chant ready for Salah.
Mus!
The two were hanging out in a pedestrian-only fan zone set up for matches in Pioneer Square. Food carts, e-scooters, and watch parties in every direction. Today was the first of 6 World Cup matches in Seattle. The next is between Australia and the U.S. this Friday at noon. In Occidental Square, I'm Casey Martin, KUOW News.
Gustavo Sugrero was also on the scene today outside Lumen Field as the match between Belgium and Egypt ended in a 1-1 draw.
It's hot, but the crowds were in a good mood and the occasional breeze helped here. Outside Lumen Field, you can hear the thousands of fans inside, but really the place to be if you don't have a ticket is in Pioneer Square. There's a big TV screen set up here. The crowds here are cheering on both Egypt and Belgium after big saves and a couple goals. There's a bunch of different types of security here. Mostly visible is local law enforcement. I talked to one local police officer working security. He says he's been here since 6 a.m. and he's already gotten 14,000 steps in by noon. Gustavo Sugrero, KUOW News.
And much more on Seattle's first World Cup match day coming up later in the show. Staying cool, everyone? I'm trying with a fan in the window at night. A heat wave is hitting the Pacific Northwest. Record-breaking temperatures in the 90s are expected in much of the usually temperate region. John Ryan reports.
In much of the country, summer temperatures in the 90s are normal, but not in the Northwest, where many homes lack air conditioning. Temperatures on Monday were expected to hit 20 degrees above normal. In the Seattle and Portland areas, officials have opened cooling centers. Outdoor employers are required to give their workers extra rest breaks. In Olympia, a homeless shelter offered rehydration drinks and popsicles, as well as a cool place to escape the heat. 5 years ago, a record-shattering heat dome hit the Northwest and killed more than 1,000 people. Unlike that heat wave, this one is only expected to last a couple of days. John Ryan, KUOW News.
Staying with environment news, there is pushback today from Democrats to the ocean buoy removals we talked about on the show this morning. Washington Senators Patty Murray and Maria Cantwell are demanding a stop to the Trump administration's dismantling of the Ocean Monitoring Network. The buoys off the Washington coast have already been removed. There are others off the coasts of Oregon, Alaska, North Carolina, and Greenland. The $386 million network contains nearly 900 ocean sensors that track ocean circulation, marine ecosystems, and climate change. Today, several Congress members called for the National Science Foundation to reverse course. The pushback against the Trump administration comes as El Niño weather is on the way. And in our local waters, state health officials are warning people not to harvest shellfish from Hood Canal or Southern Admiralty Inlet. Tests found lethal levels of paralytic shellfish poisoning in these areas, so harvesting is off limits, including for the commercial businesses, to clams, oysters, mussels, and scallops. Crab and shrimp are not included. Warning signs are posted at the affected public beaches. With the hot, dry weather today, Washington's Department of Natural Resources says weather conditions are ripe for rapid spread of wildfires. DNR spokesperson Thomas Kyle Millward says at this time of year, about half of all the fires that burn in Washington are ignited by humans. Sometimes all it takes is one spark escaping from a smoldering backyard debris pile.
Every time you get one of these human-caused ignitions on the landscape, you're pulling a resource away that could be prepped to quickly snuff out a different blaze, right?
The agency's reminding people to know the restrictions on campfires in your area, never leave a flame unattended, and always be careful with fireworks. Several wildfires are already burning across the Columbia Basin, and there's a red flag warning tomorrow for much of central Washington and Oregon with high winds expected. Northwest Public Broadcasting's Anna King has the latest.
Winds up to 30 miles an hour are expected, with gusts up to 45. Firefighters are being tested to get progress on multiple large fires in the Columbia Basin that started over the weekend. An American flag whips just outside of Benton County Fire District 2 in Benton City. Dennis Bates is the chief. He says this is going to be a very long season.
The lower Columbia Basin here is known for our wind patterns, higher winds throughout the season, and it gets hotter and drier, through the summer.
He says it's August fire weather already, and 4th of July is just weeks away. In Benton City, I'm Anna King.
Criminal charges against King County Assessor John Wilson for allegedly stalking his ex-fiancée have been dismissed, according to the Seattle Times. The motion of dismissal says the victim, quote, no longer wants to cooperate. Wilson had pled not guilty to violating a court order after he was accused of stalking. Wilson's term ends this year, and he says he won't run for re-election. We'll round out the news today with some housing news. And first, a little tax info to kick off your week. King County residents are looking at another sales tax hike. County council members have narrowly approved a 0.1% bump to pay for transportation improvements. The increase is expected to raise about $100 million a year for primarily roads and bridges in unincorporated parts of the county, including White Center, Skyway, and Vashon Island. In housing, more mixed-income housing will soon be available in Seattle. On Friday, a nonprofit land trust unveiled 30 new condos in Phinney Ridge. Organizers estimate the units will sell for about $300,000 each. And when buyers eventually sell, they agree to do so at a formula that restricts their equity gain.
So these homes will always stay affordable, resale after resale.
That's Kathleen Hosfeld, the CEO of Homestead Community Land Trust. The nonprofit owns the land the condos sit on. Washington State Senator Emily Alvarado says this housing model is a good one to replicate.
This is exactly what we should do more of in all communities across the state of Washington.
If a single person wants to apply for one of these affordable units, they need to earn less than $81,000 a year. Now, our feature story today. Seattle's first World Cup match ended in a draw this afternoon, with Egypt and Belgium tying 1-1. KUOW's Kim Malcolm checked in with reporter Casey Martin, who showed up to Pioneer Square early this morning to soak in all the local and international color.
It's pretty fun to see Seattle, try to be a big world-class city and host all these fans from all over the world. And, I got to say, I've been here since 7 o'clock, and overall, there's been a solid stream of people mostly milling around, mostly walking around. Sound Transit did increase light rail frequency, so there are more trains running, especially on match days. The area that I'm standing in right now, really close to Occidental Park and Pioneer Square. This whole area has been closed to cars, so it's kind of a pedestrian's paradise. You can just stroll around, you can bop into a bar for a little watch party. But overall, it seems like most people are getting into the stadium pretty easily. One holdup I did see, though, is a lot of people were trying to bike to the stadium, and they were having trouble trying to find a bike rack. With all the security, there weren't a lot of available bike racks. But overall, it looks like the stadium did fill up on time.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And those folks, as they were trying to get into the stadium, we were under a heat advisory today. We still are. How are folks beating the heat?
Yeah, a lot of people are ducking under trees, trying to find any shade. Thankfully, Pioneer Square has a lot of great old trees that people are catching some shade in. I've talked to a lot of out-of-towners that said, I didn't think Seattle got this hot. And I lied to them and said, it's always this sunny, it's always this beautiful. But most people they have like little personal fans hung around their necks. And like I said, underneath a tree is the hot real estate right now.
Yeah, and I understand that the officials were letting folks go into the stadium with sealed water bottles, that was going to be okay for today.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about watch parties, tailgating. What's the scene? What's the vibe? What are you seeing?
It's a big neighborhood party, honestly, Kim. This whole area has been closed to cars, like I said, so it's kind of a big pedestrian fan zone. There's folks that are walking around in jerseys. They're going into one bar, then they're crossing the street and going into the next. You can hear the match everywhere. It's just kind of like echoing off the walls in Pioneer Square. It's being played on every TV screen. And also, of course, the stadium is just 2 blocks away or so. People are feeling really, really good. There's this feeling, I talked to a volunteer who described it almost like an Olympic village kind of feel, where it's this one small concentrated area in Pioneer Square, and the attitude and the energy is up. When I was watching the beginning of the Egypt-Belgium game, the first goal was scored by Egypt, and I spoke to a diehard fan, Nashua Zahir, who's from Egypt, and she lives here in Seattle.
I'm so proud of my team. I'm so proud of my country. We bring the flags from Egypt. We bring the T-shirts, everything. So happy.
Is Seattle doing a good job being a host city?
Yeah, of course. It's very organized. It's very nice.
Zahir was leading the cheering section for Egypt in this big watch party in Occidental Park, and you're seeing a lot of Egypt flags right now, a lot of proud fans.
And what are some of the craziest get-ups you've seen? I mean, the fans really love to dress for the occasion.
Oh, yeah. No, the costumes have been just A+ all around. So Belgian fans, they have kind of this devil look. A lot of them have painted their faces red, and they have like these big devilish horns, which is pretty fun. And then Egypt fans, we're seeing a lot of King Tut, a lot of pharaohs, and I did see a guy who made his own pyramid he's wearing on his head. Fantastic. I think it's the third great pyramid, honestly. So yeah, I think Egypt, no matter what happens on the soccer pitch, I think they won the costumes today.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so, maybe not everybody's in love with the World Cup. Maybe there's some folks locally, shop owners, pedestrians, soccer Grinches. Are you hearing from anybody who wishes these matches were happening anywhere else but there?
Not at all. Not at all. I've stopped into pretty much every bar for work purposes, of course.
Oh, okay.
And the bars that are, there's a couple of them that, even though they aren't playing the audio of the match, they have it on the TV screen. And, they've talked about they really like the vibe of people being able to walk around in this space that, is completely close to cars, which typically it is not. And, even though they might not be necessarily like a big soccer bar or one of the official World Cup FIFA bars, they absolutely have the match on the screens, and they're all part of it, especially right here in this neighborhood.
Casey Martin talking with KUOW's Kim Malcolm. The next World Cup match in Seattle is this Friday at noon when the United States takes on Australia. Next time on Seattle Now, the Seattle Fire Department's been contracting for years with an AI company to dispatch 911 calls.
We don't know that this is necessarily a bad thing. We don't know that this is necessarily a good thing. We need more information about it, both in terms of disclosure so that people know what they're getting into, and also in terms of how we're measuring success.
Learn more Tuesday morning. That's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Andy Hurst. I'm Paige Browning. The interview in today's show was produced by Shane Mailing. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. See you later.